Yeah. Okay. So we're up to where exactly we're up to now? We're up to Itmar. Have you lifted Taina Vanov Masechet Suda Mem Aleph Amud Bet? New case. If they brought two dots, Itmar, in the middle of the page. Okay. So it says here, Itmar, have you lifted Teinim va'anavim b'toch ha'suda? If they brought Teinim and Anavim, figs and grapes, b'toch ha'suda, middle of the Suda. So before you said Birkat Hamazon, they bring you these fruits. Amar Avuna, tu'unim bracha lifnehem ve'en tu'unim bracha la'achreim. They require a borei pri'etz beforehand, meaning the hamot tzilachem in the aretz does not cover them. Why not? Rabotai, because they are not part of the bread. They're not a tafel to the bread. They're eaten other than the bread. They're eaten besides the bread. They're not there to enhance the bread, so they don't become a tafel to the bread, like everything else in a Suda. And therefore they require their own bracha lifnehem. And, however, ve'ein tu'unim bracha le'acharem. But they do not require bracha afterwards, because the Birkat Hamazon will cover them. V'chein amar Rav Nachman tu'unim bracha lifnehem ve'ein tu'unim bracha le'acharem. Rav Nachman says the same thing. They need a bracha beforehand, but they do not require a bracha afterwards. Now, Rav Sheshet Amar, he says, no. Tunim bracha ben lifneim ben acharem. They need a bracha beforehand and afterwards. Okay? Why? Why do they need it afterwards? So he says, "She'en lecha davar shete'um bracha lefanav ve'en te'um bracha lacharav, elapat haba'ar b'kisnim bilvad." There's nothing that we find that needs a bracha before and doesn't need a bracha afterwards, other than pat haba'ar b'kisnin bilvad. Now, what does that mean? That means, what's patava b'kisnin? So it's a big machloket of shonim. Rashi learns. We'll learn at least Rashi now. Rashi learns kisnin means roasted kernels, and kernels of wheat. So Rashi learns after they would eat, and after they would say Birkat Hamazon, they would eat these roasted kernels because they were very good for your heart. And together with the kernels, they would bring other things that were baked and were kneaded. You know what kneaded means? With a K. Nilosh. You make the dough. They were kneaded, that's how you say it in English. They were kneaded with tavlinim, with spices, and with different nuts. And they would eat some of those too. So those are called pat, the types of the baked goods that were brought with the kisnin, with the klayot. Okay? Now, everybody knows that those are definitely need a mizonot, because they're not just kernels of wheat anymore, they're baked bread. They're baked into baked goods. But since they were baked with many different spices and they only eat a little bit of it at a time, they don't usually need ala michya afterwards. And they're similar to a bread that was baked out of rice, which we said is mizonot first and borei nefashot afterwards. Okay? Okay. So now, that's the only thing that needs borei nefashot, but everything else, if you make a borei priya etz on anything else from the Shivat Hamidin, it needs an al ha'etz ve'al priya etz. And you can't say, what do you mean I'm going to make al ha'etz ve'al priya etz? I'm already going to say Birkat HaMazon. The Birkat HaMazon will cover me. It won't cover you. And what's the reason why it won't cover you? It's just a statement? He's adamant about it? No. So Rashi says the Svara is as follows. The little Rashi, a very important Rashi. Bein lifneim, bein la'acharem. It's the Rashi before the large Rashi. He says, Delo patar alamidi de zayin v'hani lo zayni. Since they don't satiate, fruits don't satiate, therefore, you can't say Birkat HaMazon. Why not? Because the first bracha of Birkat HaMazon is what? Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu hazan et ha'olam. Who satisfies, who satiates the world. And you end off the bracha, Baruch atah Hashem hazan et hakol. The one who satiates all. The one who feeds all. Now, so these are not items that really belong to that bracha. That bracha doesn't speak to these items. And therefore, Birkat HaMazon does not help. Therefore, you're going to make an al ha'etz. Okay. Ufliga de Rav Chia. This argues with Rav Chia. Why? The Amar Rav Chia pat poteret kol minei ma'achal. The Birkat HaMotzi beforehand and the Birkat HaMazon after bread exempts all sorts of foods from all berachot before and afterwards. And therefore, according to Rav Chia, even if you eat something like fruits in the middle of Suda, there's no bracha before and there's no bracha afterwards. So we have three opinions here. V'yayin poter kol minei mashkin. Same thing with liquids. Wine exempts them from brachot before, and wine exempts them from the brachot afterwards. According to Rabbi Chia, if you make a borei priya gafen, you don't have to make any more brachot on any foods, on any drinks, not the bracha before and not the bracha afterwards. The ala gefen will cover after, the borei priya gefen will cover before. Okay, so we have three opinions here if you eat fruits in the middle of Suda. First opinion is Rav Huna and Rav Nachman, that it requires a bracha before but not after. Rav Sheshet says it requires both, and Rav Chia says none. Amar Rav Papa, Ilchet HaDvarim Abeim Machmat HaSuda. So Rav Papa says this is the halacha. Things that come Machmat HaSuda, because of the Suda. Suda means the bread, because that is the main part of the Suda. So things that are there to be a dip for the bread to dip into, or things that go along with the bread and eaten with the bread. And they're eaten in the middle of the meal, b'toch hasuda. They don't need a bracha before or not afterwards. Okay? If they're not coming for the pat, and they're not eating with the pat, and when are they eating? But they're eating b'toch hasuda. For example, if a person has a cereal made out of the 5 grains in the middle of the Suda, you don't eat the cereal. The cereal is not part of the bread, because the cereal is from the 5 grains themselves. So it's not there for the bread to be dipped into, like the Gemara says, Hani bavloi tipshai, the achlu nahama berahama. Those bavloi tipshai that dip the bread into the taisa. That's not the right way. You don't dip bread into other breads. It's all the 5 grains, and therefore the halacha is that therefore the daisa is independent of the bread. Okay, has nothing to do with the bread, but you ate it at the same time that you're eating the bread. B'toch hasuda, meaning you wanted it to count as something that you were eating for satiating purposes, suda purposes. They bring other examples here is or like salads of cabbage. Also, it's not eaten with the bread, but it's there for the sudah. So there, tunim bracha lefnehem, they need a bracha beforehand. According to Rav Papa, they need a bracha beforehand because they're not part of the bread, so the hamotzi doesn't cover them. But they don't require a bracha afterwards, because since they are mazon, so therefore the birkat hamazon could exempt them. Okay? La'achar sudah, but things that are normally eaten after the sudah, they're there as dessert to help me digest my. So it's not there really for me to eat, to fill me up. It's just there. It's things for like after you eat. It's called kinuach hasadeh. It cleans. It's something that's eaten as a dessert, but not to fill me up. So then, even if you eat them in the middle of the sudah with the bread, tu'unim bracha bein lifteim bein la'achareim. Not with the bread. I said with the bread. At the same time as the bread. If you eat them together with the bread mamash, that'll be different. But if you eat them at the same time as the bread, in the middle of the sudah, they need a bracha bein lifneim, because they're not part of the bread, and bein la'achareim, because they're not mazon. So birkat hamazon will not apply to them, and therefore you have to say al ha'etz. Okay? שאלו את בן זומא, בפני מה אמרו דברים הבאים מחמת הסעודה בתוך הסעודה אינם טעונים ברכה? לא לפניהם לא אחריהם. Why did we say that things that come for the bread and are eaten inside the sudah don't need a bracha before and after? Amalahem hoilu pat potrata. Because the pat exempts them. The hamotzi takes care of them. They're part of the pat, and the birkat hamazon also takes care of them. So the Gemara says, "Ihachi yain nami niftere pat." So why doesn't bread exempt wine? Wine comes machmat hasudah because of the bread. It's there to go together with the bread, and it comes in the middle of the bread while we're eating the main part of the meal, the main courses. So let the hamotzi lechem in haaretz, just like it takes care of all the other things, all the dips on the table, and things that I eat together with the bread, they're coming for the bread. So why did we make a special bracha on wine? So the Gemara answers, Shani yayin, the gorem bracha le'atzmo. Yayin causes a bracha for itself. It's very chashuv. Okay? What does that mean? Let's say I'm not in the mood of drinking wine. Even if I'm not in the mood of drinking wine, I'm not thirsty, you still say Borei Priya Gefen by Havdalah in Kiddush. You have to make one. To praise Hashem for the wine. It's part of the Kiddush and the Havdalah process, ceremony. Mitzvah, not a ceremony. Right? So, therefore, since we see that the bracha of Yayin it's Gorem bracha le'atzmo. Normally, when you eat mizonot, there's never a time that if you don't want to eat mizonot, we say, no, you have to make a mizonot now. You have to make a mizonot. Yes, you have to praise Hashem for the mazon. Make a mizonot. Which mitzvah in during the whole year do you ever have to do that? Never. But yayin, there is such a thing. So since yayin is so chashuv, another example is bikrat chasanim, right? You go under the chuppah. I don't want to make a borei priya gafen. No. Make a borei priya gafen. Thank Hashem for the wine. So since wine is so chashuv, therefore the bracha of pat cannot exempt it. Okay? The Gemara brings now a story about pat about Abikisnin. Ravuna achal tleisa rifti b'nei tlata bekaba. Okay? He ate 13 loaves of pat haba bekisnin. Okay? And every 3 loaves was the size of a calf. It was blown up the size of a calf. A calf is 24 eggs, I would say. So every single loaf of bread, after he ate 3 loaves of bread, it was 24 beitzim. That means every loaf of bread was 8 eggs. Okay, the size of 8 eggs. And he ate 13 of...
Is that a lot? Today's terms.
8 eggs? The size, the volume of 8 eggs. He ate 13 of those. What's 8 times 13? 8 times, what? 104 eggs. It's a lot. Huh? It's a lot. Now, but it was all this type of food that we call pataba b'kisnin. The Rebbe Rashi learned it was the baked goods that people usually eat a little bit of, only not a real shiur after the Birkat Hamazon, and the baked goods were needed, right? When I say needed, I mean with a K, needed, amasar, como se dice en español, right? To knead the dough with spices and nuts. So it's made a little bit different than bread. And v'lo barich, and he didn't say Birkat Hamazon afterwards. Okay? Since people usually eat it as a snack, he did not make Birkat Hamazon, no hamotzi, no Birkat Hamazon. Amalei Rav Nachman, Adi Kafna. Were these eaten to satiate your hunger? You ate so many of them that you ate them to get full. That's not where the Chachamim said that you have this leniency of pataba b'kisnin that doesn't require hamotzi or Birkat Hamazon. Ela kol she'acherim kovim ulav seudah tzarich levarech. As long as people are kovei seudah, you have to make a bracha, because the entire reason, says Rav Nachman, that pataba b'kisnin is like, oh, your bread, you're made out of flour and water, and we said that flour and what is flour and water, Batai? Pat, bread. What do you make on bread? Lechem. Hamotzi lechem in aretz. So what makes you different than regular bread? Why is there a new category? Like in the bread category, your bread that's babi kisnin. You're not like hamotzi lechem in aretz. You're mizonot. Your mazon, yeah, we have to give you a higher bracha than hadamah. You were created into something higher, but you didn't make it to the pat, to the lechem. Why not? So, according to Rashi, pata b'kisnin is because they make it with other types of things, and that type, whenever you have a bread that's made out of, has other spices and nuts inside the dough, so that already is a different type of food, which they only eat as a snack. So Rav Nachman says exactly. The point is that you eat it as a snack, but if you decided to choose not to eat it as a snack, and you established a real meal, your kovei seudah. Therefore, if most people eat this amount for a real seudah, you have to say Birkat Hamazon and hamotzi before you eat them.
That's halacha.
Yes, it's halacha. And even if you don't want to make your seudah, for me, this is a snack. But if most people, this is not a snack, you're a kovei seudah, it's a large amount, that's the halacha. If a person eats a lot of mizonot, now there are certain things that are exempted. There are certain things that will never make it to hamotzi and Birkat Hamazon because they're lacking turita denama, the form, the appearance of bread. Okay? Could be like pasta. Right? Even if you eat a large amount, you kovei seudah, could be you'll never make this bracha. So, but yeah.
We're just talking about wine and bread.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, on Friday night we say kiddush, right?
Right.
We drink a certain amount of wine.
Right.
And then we'll wash our hands and then eat bread. Do I have to say after bracha after the wine?
Excellent. So, no, you don't. No. It's only the first bracha that's not exempted by the... First of all, There, you definitely you didn't have the bread yet at all, right? So of course you have to make the hagafen. But here we're talking about even when you have bread, you still have to make hagafen. The after bracha, no, you don't. The Birkat Hamazon will exempt it. Yeah. Okay. Because it's dvarim aba'im machmat hasudah. It's only it's a thing that comes with the bread. It happens to be that the bread can't exempt it. The first bracha is special because it's such a chashuv bracha. The first bracha is so chashuv. It's gorem bracha la'atzma, but the after bracha you cover. Right? That's why you find that after you eat a sudah on Shabbat, people only say Birkat Hamazon. Right. Okay, so now Rav Yehuda have an astik le'levrei bei Rav Yehuda b'chaviva. Rav Yehuda was preparing all the preparations for his son's wedding, and his son was marrying the daughter of Rav Yehuda b'chaviva. So that you have Rav Yehuda, son marrying Rav Yehuda b'chaviva's daughter, and he was preparing the preparations. Aitu lekamayu pata babe kisnin. They brought him this pata babe kisnin. Ki ata, when Rav Yehuda came, sham inu dekamevarchi hamotzi. He heard them saying hamotzi on the pata babe kisnin. Amalahu my tzitzi dekashamana. What are these tzitzi? Hamotzi, hamotzi. He was like, what's this tzitzi business? You saying hamotzi over here? Dilma hamotzi lechem min haaretz kamem chisu? Are you is the tzitzi that I'm hearing hamotzi? Hambilei in, yes. The Tanya Rabbi Mona Amar Mishum Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Mona said in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, now I don't want you to get mixed up. We're mentioning a third Rabbi Yehuda in the story. This is Rabbi Yehuda. This is the Tanah. They're quoting Rabbi Mona quotes Rabbi Yehuda. Pata babi kisnin mivachina le'amotzi. You make hamotzi v'amar Shmuel alacha Rabbi Mona. And Shmuel said alacha like Rabbi Mona. Then on pata babi kisnin you say hamotzi. Amar lihu. So Rav Yehuda, the Amora, said to them, no. You have the wrong version. Ein halacha Rabbi Mona, Itmar. Shmuel said halacha does not follow Rabbi Mona in the name of Rabbi Yehuda that you say hamotzi am pata babi kisnin. Amrilei. So the Chachamim said to Rabbi Yehuda, v'hamar Huda amar mishmei Shmuel. But you yourself said in the name of your Rabbi Shmuel, lachmaniot. Okay, lachmaniot are a type of pat babi kisnin. Okay, not the way we call lachmaniot today in modern Hebrew in Israel, which means loaves of bread. This is, Rashi calls this ovlayash. Okay, and ovlayash is exactly what Rashi said before by Pata Bakistin. It's these little baked goods that they make with different spices and nuts in the dough itself, and they would eat it after the meal in very small increments, very small amounts, and it wasn't used to fill yourself up. So he said, lachmaniyot, you yourself said in the name of Shmuel, me'avin bahen, you can use them for eruv chatzerot, right? You know what eruv chatzerot is? When the people in a courtyard that live together in different homes that share a courtyard want to carry from their houses into the courtyard. So they have to make something called an eruv chatzerot, which means that they combine their houses together to one home. And right now it's not the sugya, but the way they do that, it suffices for us to know that they have to all bring a su'udah to one home, and this would suffice. Using this type of lachmaniyot would work. It's pata babi kistin. Umivachin aleim hamotzi, and you make hamotzi lechem min haaretz. So you yourself said that Shmuel said you make hamotzi. Shani hatam. So Rabbi Yehuda answered them, no. When I said that Shmuel said that you make hamotzi lechem min haaretz am pata b'kisnin, these lachmaniyot, there I was talking about only Shmuel was speaking only a specific case, the kavasu datei alay. Amalei lo kavasu datei alayu. No. If you're not kovei suda, you don't. So this story that happened over here when they were getting ready for the wedding and they were bringing the orchim, the guests, all these pata babi kisnin, and he heard tzitzi, And he said, what's going on over here? Because they weren't being kovei seudata. They were just having a little nice, what do they call them before? Hors d'oeuvres? What are they called? Appetizer. What's hors d'oeuvres? Same thing. Before, right? So this is not a real meal. You're not being kovei seudah. You're eating a little bit, and you don't make hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Rav Papa ikla lebei Rav Huna bread. Yeah.
But what if they were?
But they weren't. He saw what type of meal it was. If they were, then they do. Yeah. Yeah, that's what he said. He said, my Rabbi Shmuel said that if you were kovei seudah, but he saw the situation over here. They weren't doing that. So he said, am I hearing? See what's going on here. Okay. So now the Gemara brings listen to this. Rav Papa ikla lebei Rav Huna brei Rav Natan. Rav Papa visited the house of Rav Huna, the son of Rav Natan. Batad Gemara Sudatayu. After they finished eating, they brought him some sort of food. Shakal Rav Papa v'ka'achil. Rav Papa took the food and he was eating it. Amilei, so they said to Rav Papa, he was the guest. So they said to Rav Papa, Lo sava lamar gomar asur le'echol. Once a person finishes the Sudah, he may not eat anymore until he makes Birkat Hamazon on the Sudah that he already ate. And then, why? Because once you finished your Sudah, right, and they're sitting there, they finished. They removed everything from the table. They're done. They removed the food. Now they're talking, whatever it is. Now you're mesiach dat. Your mind is removed from the bracha of hamotzi. Because you finished hamotzi lechem, and everything that comes with lechem in the Sudah is covered with the lechem. So beseder, okay, very good. But now my mind is off that bracha. Because everything is done. I've stopped eating. So now if they bring you something else, okay, now you have to make a new bracha. So, and you didn't make a new bracha. You just kept eating. They brought you new food. Amalahu. So if Papa said, you're not learning that halacha properly, which means the halacha that when you mesiach dat, you don't make a bracha, is specifically silek itmar. Which means that, well, seemingly they didn't really do this. Meaning Rav Papa didn't really, the story was not that they actually removed everything. There were still things on the table, but they stopped eating for a while. So he said, you think if I stopped eating for a while, that's already constitutes a hesech hadat, a removal of my mind. My mind is off the matter. That's not enough. They have to actually remove the food. Okay? I actually saw a story with Reb Nachman from Breslov, that he used to go to people's weddings to give himself a new spirit, to give himself new life. And he had a shayla lahalocha, if he has to make a new bracha on the cake after they finish the main course. And they asked Rabbi Yashiv today about the waiters when they remove everything from the table. He said there's no shayla, you have to make a new bracha. So I just saw the story. I don't know what exactly the two stories have to do with each other, but that's what I saw. That's the way I saw it. Okay? So Rabbi Papa is saying like this. The thought, I'm done, I'm full, that's not enough. As long as you're sitting by the table and there's still things there. But if they remove everything, then you have to you're not allowed to eat anything now unless you make a new bracha on it. Okay?
Even mezonot soup?
What?
Mezonot soup?
Mizonot soup?
No, mezonot.
Yeah.
That includes that too. You have to say, and even though you didn't do Birkat Hamazon, today we say.
What you're talking about on a cake for dessert?
Yeah.
So that's a big question exactly. But even if you don't, right? That's a your minhag, you don't, right? It's very possible. You should find out what the Sephardi pasuk that's only because it's part of the. It has some sort of part. That's why don't you say mizonot? We said kinuach hasadeh, things that come for dessert. You make your own bracha. The answer is, since it's mazon, so that's already covered. That's real sudah. So it doesn't need a bracha. But what happens if they remove everything and it's over? So then, well, the question is, what does remove mean? Does remove mean the food, or does remove mean the table? In the olden days, they also removed the tables. So today, if they don't remove the table, could be you still don't make a bracha. Rava and Rabbi Zera iklu l'reish kaluta. Rava and Rabbi Zera, they visited the Reish Kaluta. We mentioned this before. The Reish Kaluta was the head of the Galut, the diaspora. He always came from the lineage of David HaMelech. Lebatar desaliku taka mikamayu. After they removed the table, right, from them, right, this is the table. Shadur lahu ristina mi Reish Kaluta. They sent them a portion of the Beit Reish Kaluta. Okay? Which means that he ate like in some fancy room, probably. And then he would send them his shirayim, like to the Rebbe, like a Rava achil, Rabbi Zera lo achil. Rava ate, Rabbi Zera didn't eat. Amalei, so Rabbi Zera said to Rava, lo sav lo ma suda kasum lechol. You're not allowed to eat now. You have a chiyuv to make Birkat Hamazon. And if you want to eat, you have to make a brand new bracha. You're not allowed to eat. Either because, right, until you make a bracha, you have a chiyuv to make Birkat Hamazon now. Amalei, I do hold like what you just said. But our story is different. We are guests here. We are relying on the Rosh Golah. Therefore, when they remove the table from before us, we have no idea. We have no idea. We're not in charge of this home. We don't know what's coming next. We're not in charge of what should happen next. We're just relying as guests on whatever the Reish Kaluta wants for us. So right now he removed the table. But who knows if he's going to now, if the minhag over there is now, after they remove the table, they send us a new portion. So that's what I had in mind originally. When I said mehamotzi, I'm like, look, whatever they do here, that's what it should cover. So therefore, if you're a guest, it's a whole different set of rules. Amar Rav, haragil b'shemen. If someone is accustomed to smearing his hands in oil after he finishes eating, that's what the custom was, to remove the bad odors from your hands. They ate a lot with their hands in those days also. Right? So, I don't know what was going on with the cutlery and all that things. They ate a lot with their hands. So, they used this oil. Therefore, the shemen me'akvo, then the shemen will be essential. Which means, the shemen, since that's what I do when I finish eating, so until I do that, I'm not done. Until I do that, I'm not done. Even if they remove the food from me and I finished eating and I haven't eaten in 15, 20 minutes, but I didn't call for my oil. Bring me the oil. And then you do that with your hands, you're allowed to eat without a bracha. When we were by the house of the Beit Midrash of Rav Kahana, he told us, what about us that we're accustomed to use the oil? Mishcha ma'akvalan? The Mishcha ma'akvalan. So Rav Kahana told us the oil is going to be ma'akev, it's going to be essential. And therefore, until you do that, you don't have to make a new bracha. Says the Gemara that the halakha doesn't follow any of these teachings. So who does it follow? Which means that finishing the Sudah doesn't have to do with finishing the Achilah, and not removing the food before him, and not the oil, Ella, another thing. There are three halachot that are tkifot. They have to do with tekef. Tekef means immediately after this, you do this. Tekef l'smicha shchita. Right after someone does smicha on the korban, you know what smicha is? You lean on the korban that you're bringing in the Beit HaMikdash, and let's say you're bringing for a chet, you lean on it with all your strength, and you place your avirot on the korban. Now the korban becomes your substitute, so to speak. And right after you do that, you have to do shchita. To make them one come right after the other. Learn that from Psukim. Tekef ligula tefillah, we know, right? Smichat gula tefillah. Right after you say the bracha of gula, Ga'al Yisrael, you start Shemona Esrei. And tekef l'netilat yadayim bracha. Right after you wash your hands. This doesn't mean before the meal. It means netilat yadayim after the meal, which is mayim achronim, bracha. Okay? You have to say Birkat HaMazon right after. So, meaning, you're not allowed to do anything after you do mayim achronim. You have to make Birkat HaMazon right away. So therefore, as long as I haven't done this act which brings on Birkat HaMazon, which is the Tilat Yadayim, Mayim Achronim, I'm still have not been Mesiach that, and I can continue eating without making a bracha. Amar Abai Af Anu Nomar, Tekif L'Tamidei Chachamim bracha. Right after a person brings Tamidei Chachamim into his home, you can bring this Gemara home. This is a bring home Gemara. Tells to your children. Bracha brings a blessing into your home. Immediately after you bring Talmidei Chacham into your home to eat, it brings a blessing. Shenemar vayvarcheni Hashem biglalecha. Okay? Who said this? Lavan told this to Yaakov. When he told him, I want to leave, I want to go home. He said, no, since you got here, Hashem has blessed me. Hashem blessed the house of the Mitzri because of Yosef. Okay? Okay, so we mentioned before that in those days, they would eat, after they finished eating, they would eat something called pata babi kisnin. They would eat after the Sudah. Okay? Rashi said it was even after Birkat HaMazon, but they'd also, before Birkat HaMazon, they would eat these little lachmaniot, pata babi kisnin, with wine. Okay? And that's called the yayin in this Mishnah of achar hamazon, after the main course of food. And it's also called the paperet. Paperet is the little baked goods after eating. Now there's something that they did before they ate as well. They would drink wine and eat like little roasted chicken or meat. And they would also eat fish before they started the Sudah. There's a lot of foods going on, a lot of courses here before they started the Sudah. So that it would, it would bring, it's called an appetizer. It would bring out their appetite. Okay. So now the Mishnah says, Berach ala yayin shel lifnei hamazon. If he made a bracha on the wine before he started the meal, the appetizer, patar et hayayin shel achar mazon. So the wine after the mazon, the Borei Pri HaGefen will help for the wine that comes the achar mazon, after the food, the wine that they drink afterwards. Berach ala paperet shel lifnei hamazon. And if you made a bracha mizdonot on the paperet before the mazon, or whatever bracha was, patar et paperet shel achar mazon. It helps this paperet, these types of snacks and stuff that they ate after the meal, which I have a chiyuv to make a bracha on because it comes after my sudah, not as part of the sudah. But now, since I already made the bracha for the stuff before I started the sudah, that helps for the things after the sudah as well. patar et haparperet, which means the hamotzi that I make on the bread will also help the parperet that I eat after as dessert. But ala parperet lo patar et apat. But if I make a bracha on the parperet, okay, if you made a mizonot before the Suda, that's not going to help me for the hamotzi, because that requires a hamotzi, and this was just a mizonot. Beit Shammai omrim af lo masechet. It also does not exempt the bracha of a masechet, which is a mizonot that was cooked in a kedera, in a pot, like a hot cereal. Okay, it's not going to help. It's not going to help that. Okay, now what does that mean? Why not? We'll see soon in the Gemara. Hayu yoshvin. People are sitting together, and they're eating. Kol echad mivarech le'atzmo. Everybody has to make their own bracha. Okay, but hesebu, once they're reclining, so now they're really being kovea seuda. Rashi says they're having a real meal together. So now, since they're really eating together because they're having a real meal, echad mivarech lekulan. One of them makes the bracha for all of them. Balahem yayin b'toch hamazon. If in the middle of the meal they get wine, kol echad ve'echad mivarech le'atzmo. Why? Why? The Rashi says b'gemara mefarash taima. We'll see. Achar hamazon. But if they brought you wine after you finished, echad mivarech lekulam, then one of them makes the bracha for everyone. V'hu omer ala mugmar. What's mugmar? They used to have crushed bisamim. They used to put them like on a barbecue, on a grill. And after they would eat, everybody would, it was like a real, they would smell these beautiful smelling, roasting bisamim. They would say, borei atze bisamim. So the person that made the bracha on the wine after the Sudan, he was motzi everybody, he would also say the bracha borei atze bisamim. Ve'af pi she'em mevin et hamugmar el lach Suda. Even though they would only bring it after Bekat Hamazon, and therefore the mugmar, the smelling thing that people would smell afterwards, it would settle them down, was not really part of the Suda. But since this person that made the bracha on the wine at the end of the Suda for everyone, before Bekat Hamazon, he already started the process of making the brachot of Bekat Hananin of the end of the Suda. Therefore, it's fitting that he should finish off the brachot, and he should be the one that makes the bracha on the mugmar as well. Amar Rabba Bar Bachana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Lo Shanu. So we said the first halacha was in the Mishnah, Bedach al hayayin shel leftei hamazon patar et hayayin shel achar hamazon. If you made a bracha on wine before you ate as an appetizer, then it will help you, it will exempt for the yayin that you're going to eat after the mazon. Okay? And we know that you have to make a bracha on the wine after the mazon, because we said before it's gorei bracha la'atzmo, but since you already made one before, it takes care of it. So Rabbi Bar Bachana says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Lo shanu elo b'shabbatot v'yamim tovim. This is only on Shabbatot and Yamim tovim. Hoil ve'adam kovea sudato al hayayin. Why? Because since a person drinks wine after his Suda, so therefore he has in mind when he makes the bracha on the wine before the mazon to drink after the mazon as well. Okay? Which means you didn't do this on a regular weekday. After you finish the Suda, you start making you start drinking wine. It was done on Shabbat and Yom Tov. Okay? And therefore, you can say that that's what you had in mind when I made the Borei Pri Hagafen before the Suda. Aval b'shayim mot hashana, the rest of the days, mevarech al kol kos v'kos. You have to make a bracha on every kos that you drink after the Suda, because when you made the Hagafen, when you made the Hagafen at the wine before the Suda, you didn't think you're going to drink wine afterwards. Therefore, when you suddenly decided, you changed your mind, you said, no, you know what, I want to drink now. I finished my meal, but I want to drink. This is like a brand new act of drinking. And therefore, it didn't have it in mind, and it doesn't cover this wine. Okay? It's a very important halakha.
Can you repeat that halakha again?
Yeah, it's a very important halakha. Why does the bracha of hagefen cover all the rest of the hagefens? Does it cover my hagefen for the rest of my life? No. Because it only covers, I know I used a very extreme example, but the point is to bring out the point is, it only covers what I have in mind now. But since it's a Wednesday afternoon, and on Wednesday afternoon, I don't usually drink wine after the Sudah, after I finish, right? So that's like a brand new drink. Suddenly I decide a new thing. So therefore, when I made my original bracha, I didn't have that in mind.
Are you talking about post Birkat Hamazon or not? Or before? I'm confused about that.
Before.
I had a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Then I washed for bread, whatever.
Right.
Okay.
And I eat the whole Sudah.
I had my Suda. Now
Correct.
the dessert wine comes out.
Now the dessert wine comes out.
Okay.
So now you have to make a new bracha.
That's halakha? No.
It's
If I did not have, did I know that more wine was coming later?
That's exactly his point. That's what he's saying. He's saying on Shabbat and Yom Tov, you know that. So even if you're not thinking about it, it's the norm, so it's like you're thinking about it. But during the weekday, it's a brand new thought. You weren't thinking about it. That's not what's done. So therefore, if you decide to do it, sometimes you do things that remind you of Shabbat. Your kid says, "Can I have a little wine today?" You say, "It's Tuesday afternoon. What are you doing?" "I don't know. I just thought of it. I saw it. It's like Shabbat. It reminds you." "Okay, fine. Take a little bit." But that's a new thought. You don't usually do that, and therefore the first bracha of the wine doesn't help. Okay? You want to know if this halakha now?
What about the after bracha? What came in from the first cup of wine? Was that covered by the?
We didn't make the after bracha. We're going to make berachot hamazon here.
Okay.
So the berachot hamazon is going to cover everything. Question is the first bracha. So let's see at the end of the halakha l'maaseh. Itmer nami Amar Rabbi Bar Mari Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi lo shono ela b'shabbatot v'yom tovim u'v'shas ha'adam yotzei mibeit ha'mechatz u'v'shat hakazat adam. Or it doesn't have to be dafka Shabbat Yom Tov. It could be when a person goes to the bathhouse or he does bloodletting. What happens is people got very hot or weak, and the Gemara says in Shabbat that the way to help you get strength is to drink red wine and meat. So they would do that. So therefore, since I'm going to be koveh my Sudah on wine, therefore any bracha I make on wine before the Sudah is, of course, it's like I have in mind any other, because I'm going to have wine. Okay. Rabbi Bar Mari ikla lebei Rava b'chol. Rabbi Bar Mari visited Rava's home on a weekday. Chazia de barich. And he saw that Rava, his host, made a bracha on the wine. Lifnei hamazon. He made it before the mazon. V'hadar barich le'achar mazon. And after they finished eating, right, then they brought wine, like at the end of the Sudah, like a dessert. He made another bracha. Amalei Yishar, you have done straight, beautiful, good job. V'chein Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, and that's exactly what Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said to do. That you have to make another bracha because the first one, since it's a regular weekday, that was not in the plan. Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef ikla lebei Abaye b'Yom Tov. Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef visited the home of Abaye on Yom Tov. This is Yom Tov when people do this. Chazi de Baruch kol kasa v'kasa, and he sees that he's making a hagafar on every kos after the Sudah. Amalei lo stavel amar lahod Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. You already made a bracha on the yain before the meal. Don't you hold who Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi taught that you don't have to make another bracha? Amar leis, he said to him, nimlachana. I keep deciding, I keep changing my mind. I keep making a new decision. Why? Because I don't usually have wine. I'm not kovei my Sudah on wine. Even on Yom Tov, that's not my way, says Abaye. So therefore, every time I have a new cup of wine after the Suda, it's like a brand new decision for me. This is like a chidush. Even though it's Yom Tov, in my home, I don't do that. We're not such big wine drinkers. Now, why did I do it today? Whatever the reason is. I decided like a brand new, like a new idea. I said, you know what, bring me a cup of wine. Whatever his reason was for Simchat Yom Tov. But that was like a chidush. Now, after he finished that, so he made a Bari Priya Gafen on that cup of wine at the end of the Suda. After he finished that cup of wine, Abaye was done. He was like, wow, I did something I never do. Okay, done. Then he's saying more Divrei Torah, whatever it was. Suddenly he says, you know what? For Simchat Yom Tov, I think I'll have another cup of wine. So now it's a brand new thought. So if I had to make another Hagafen. So therefore, as long as it's totally not in my mind that I'm going to have the next cup, it's like I'm done. So I have to keep making a new Hagafen. The bracha only covers. Why does the bracha cover later? We're very used to that. Oh, I already made. You know, that's the most famous thing. I made one. You know, your kid tells you, I made one last week. You tell your kid, what are you eating this? You didn't make a bracha. I made one 7 hours ago. He made on another candy. So what's the pshat? That's what we're used to. I made one. It's not enough. You made one. The reason why I made one works is because when you make one, you have in mind. But if you don't, and that's why there's very, very great differences if whether you're in the middle of a Suda or you're snacking. For example, if you are eating potato chips as a snack, you come home and you make a hadama on potato chips, right? Okay, I don't know, okay, you eat a bag of potato chips and you make a phone call. You're done. You make a phone call. Take care of this. You go and you look at something that came in the mail. I'm not talking about you leave the home. You're in the home. And then 15 minutes later, you decide you want to have some carrots. So you say, oh, I made one already. You made one already? Lav dafka. It's not the same type of food. It's not the same potato chips. It's not the end of the bag of the potato chips. It's not even the same type of food as the potato chips. So it's brand new food. It's just the same bracha. And you didn't sit down to a Suda with a plate and then we're going to have now a few courses, potato chips, carrots, this and that. No. You were in the kitchen, you made a quick, you snacked over there, even if you sat down, which you should. But it was a snack. You didn't have it in mind. So you have to make another bracha. You have to make another hadama. Now, if that would have been in a meal, like even if you didn't wash your hands for hamotzi, and you actually, like a regular dinner that you don't wash, then it might be different. Because then, I have in mind, I'm eating a lot now. Whatever is going to come in this Suda, I have in mind. That would be different. So it always depends on the mental state of the person. Ibaylu, they asked a question. Almost done. Let's say you didn't drink wine before the Suda. You didn't drink the appetizer. Balahem yaim b'toch hamazon. And they brought you wine in the middle of the Suda, and we learned before that since wine, that bracha is so chashuv, that it's gorem bracha la'atzmo, you have to make a hagafen on it in the middle of the Suda. Could this wine, the first wine that I'm having now, is not the one that came before the Suda. It's in the middle of the Suda. Could that help for the wine that comes after the Suda? We know that it doesn't usually, the one before, unless it's Shabbat or Yom Tov. But if it's on a weekday, it doesn't. What about if it was not all the way before the Suda, it was in the middle of the Suda? Maybe the Mishnah that said that the one before the Suda exempts the one after the Suda. We learned that that's on Shabbat and Yom Tov. That's only what? Because the zelishtot v'zelishtot. Because what are you drinking both of them? You're drinking both of them to drink. Okay? Aval hacha the zelishtot v'zelishrot lo. Or dimalish loshna. Which means the function of the wine before the Suda and the function of the wine as a dessert are the same functions. What is the purpose of their drinking? To drink wine. To enjoy a cup of wine. It opens my appetite, it's delicious. Okay, but the drinking of the wine in the middle of the Suda, Rabotai, has a different function. They would drink a little bit of wine in the middle of the Suda so that the food can settle. So that is a different purpose of drinking before the Suda and after the Suda. So maybe when I make a hagafen in the middle of the Suda, that won't help. The hagafen is not going to help because the wine that I drink after the Suda is a much greater, significant type of drinking. So maybe it wasn't exempted with the hagafen that I made in the middle of the Suda. Okay? So the Gemara says, oh, maybe there's no difference. Once I made hagafen, it's good. Rav Amar. So Rav says to this Shaila, Poter. Rav Kahana Amar, Eno Poter. Rav Nachman Amar Poter. Rav Sheshet Amar, Eno Poter. Rav Huna Rav Yehuda V'chol Tamid Rav Amri, Eno Poter. Okay? So now it's very interesting that this Psak Halacha of all the Tamidim of Rav is against Rav. Because Rav Huna, Rav Yehuda, and all the Tamidim of Rav say, Eno Poter, and Rav said Poter. So, some of the Rishonim say that Rav himself retracted. And he said it's not going to be Poter. So the Gemara asked the Kasha. So the Gemara asked a question, Eiteve, Rav Nachman, Balahem Yain B'toch HaMazon. Rav Nachman said that the wine in the middle of the Mazon exempts the wine after the Mazon. But the Mishnah, what does it say here? In our Mishnah, it says, Balahem Yain B'toch HaMazon. If you have wine in the middle of the Mazon, Kol Echad V'Echad Mevarech Le'atzmo. Then everybody makes their own bracha. La'achar Mazon, Echad Mevarech Le'kulan. Then one makes for everybody on the wine afterwards. Now, this second case of Yain after the Mazon is a continuation of the first case of Yain Shebetoch HaMazon. Right? So that means that they already drank wine in the middle of the meal, and everybody already made it hagafen. And now they bring you another wine, and you have one guy being motzi everybody. Now, why does he have to make a new bracha to motzi everybody? I thought it's already poter. The wine in the middle of the Suda already took care of it. So we see from our Mishnah that it doesn't take care of it. Amar le hachi kamar. Rav Nachman said this is the way that you have to read it. You have to read the Mishnah as follows. Im lo bala hem yain b'toch hamazon. If they haven't had wine in the middle of the mazon, so they didn't have made a borei pi hagafen, elo la'achar mazon, and they only made a bracha after the mazon, then echad mevelech l'kulam. Chazak baruch. But if they had in the middle of the meal, not so. Then it's already poter, the wine after the Suda.